I had to adjust. So, like I mentioned earlier, my name is Dee Wells. I'm part of Future Focus Media Cooperative, which teaches photography and videography. And a big part of what I also do, in another hat that I wear, I always say I wear multiple hats, and I'm definitely West Indian because I have multiple jobs. I got tree job, man. No, we got 4, 5, 10. You know, it is true. Very stereotypical. So.
Can you speak in that accent the whole time?
You want me to talk sort of whole evening? You'll warm me up a little bit now. Okay. So.
We're really like, what?
That's your brand, right?
What's that?
I'm supposed to
Bring-
exactly.
Exactly. So, a big part of, or one of the hats that I wear is doing marketing consulting for the footwear industry, particularly for sneaker companies. So I work with a lot of sneaker companies that are based here in Massachusetts, but also elsewhere. And a big part of that is branding. A big part of that is storytelling. And as you do that, as any of your businesses, you think about the coffee business, and it is the markup. I'm a huge Café Bustelo fan. I brew a pot of Café Bustelo every morning. And I go to Compadre Foods right here on Main Street because they have the least expensive, price versus anywhere else, at the shop locally. You think of a pedicab in terms of how you build your brand, how you get the word out, how you tell your story. That's a big part of what marketing is, telling your story. And no one tells your story better than you. So it's, how do you start your brand? How do you get the word out? Is that a question, Judy, or a flip of the hat? Okay. Okay. So my brand, and I brought a couple examples of how my brand has changed. This is my old logo. My old brand. OSD, which stands for Obsessive Sneaker Disorder. It's a non-curable disease that people suffer from, people who obsess about sneakers. This brand, when I had this logo design, was back in 2006 by a high school friend of mine. I just wanted something simple, something that got the point across, a footprint. This is actually a sticker that I had made, and I cut it and put it on my phone case. Right? So that has changed though, because as my business has changed, or as your business will change, you have to re-evaluate your branding, your marketing. That has since changed in terms of my logo to now look like this. Okay, so it's grown up, right? Very big difference between this and this, right? I wanted to invoke emotion, and that's a lot of what you're going to be doing in your marketing of your company. You want people to connect. Excuse me?
About 40 times the size.
Right, this is just a skin I had created to put on it, but an emotion, right? An emotional connection that people have. And then you think about how your brand and your marketing, how does it get across your message? Right? I can go and ask each and every one of you, what does this look like to you? What does it say? Does it look manic? Does it look kind of a little crazy? Yes, that's all done on purpose, right? When you think about your name of your company, you have to think about certainly long term. Because most people, when you think of when you create a name immediately, you may think short term. What's going to happen within the next maybe year? But you do have to have some long term projections, and that's branding. That's again having some foresight. Just like John spoke about earlier, you're figuring out, right, at the same time, what are some of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay? What does your brand, what does your image, what does your logo say to the outside public? What does it say? For example, everyone who's part of your cooperative or your business is a marketing and sales specialist. I truly do believe that. Everyone does marketing and sales within the cooperative. You have to. Everyone has to take ownership of that. Right? Because someone may interact with me in one setting, someone may interact with, say, Judy in a different setting, Someone may interact with Kevin in a different setting. Or we're all part of the same cooperative, so we all have to have what? The same message. We have to be saying the same information. Okay? Branding, marketing, those words get intertwined very often. They kind of flow right into from one into the next. And some people get confused by that. So how do you break it down? And I always say, how do you break it down in simple terms that we can all understand? And that's the biggest thing about any marketing plan, any strategy, is how to keep it simple and get your message across. Okay? So I'm gonna turn this a little bit, and because we were all talking about your cooperatives, for example, the cooperative with the bees, right? So here you are, you want to sell honey directly to consumers, right? Think about who your consumers are, who your customers are, and why would they want to buy honey from you versus going to the local grocery store or boutique store, things like that, right? So that's one thought. The pedicab business. Tell me your name one more time.
Soul Cherries.
Soul Cherries. I was on the tip of my tongue. Soul Cherries. I mean, just the name says a lot. It says exactly what you are about, right? Does your image convey that same message? Do you have a logo right now?
Yes.
Okay. What does the logo look like? I think I just remember it from last cooperative last year.
Spokes of a wheel, and then like it looks like a sun.
That's okay. That's exactly what it. Yep. I remember seeing it. So again, your logo says what you're about. Do you think there's any confusion when someone looks at that they don't understand what you do?
I'm not sure I would understand from the logo. I might think that they're solar powered.
Yeah,
Do you have something with it that we can show the example for the
I
group?
wish.
Okay. Maybe we could. Maybe I'll pull
Pull
it
it
up
up on
later
our
on the
phone.
website
Yeah.
in a little bit. Okay. So you think the logo may have something to do with solar? So maybe some
I mean,
confusion in the
if
market.
that were all I knew,
Ah.
if that were all I knew.
Okay. Okay. Technicopia. Your logo, your branding is very unique, right? And what's that?
Neuron robotics.
Right. And I'll pass this around so everyone can see. Take a look at Kevin's business card here. Technicopia. You know, when people hear the name, they say, "Well, tech, okay, technology." But what else?
Cornucopia.
What else? A cornucopia, right? What is a cornucopia? What does a cornucopia mean? What does it mean to the individual? There's also cultural differences that may get intertwined in there as well. So I'm going to pass, Kevin, do you mind? I'm going to pass Kevin's card around so you can look at his logo there on his business card. So you think about that and how it feeds into, again, everything is done in a strategic way. You think about your logo, you think about your mission statement, you think about your overall objective, strategies, and goals. That's all part of branding, believe it or not. So a lot of times, a lot of companies, or a lot of people who start thinking about their branding and how they get, what they represent in the marketplace, they spend a lot of time just coming up with the overall image. So that's just one piece of it. The second piece is the language that you use. Because sometimes you know so much about your specific business that you speak in a language that's way above most people's heads. Any questions so far? So you have to think about the language that you're using. And can someone understand when say Kevin says to me, my business is called Technicopia. Hopefully, if I don't know what that means, I'll say, Kevin, tell me some more. What is Technicopia? What does it do? Soul Charts, what is it about? What do you do? Who do you serve? Right? Question, question, question. What do you do? Who do you serve? And then ultimately, the other question is, I'm thinking to myself, how does this benefit me? Right? How does it benefit me? Why should I do business with you versus somebody else? Why should I say maybe drive or walk? I'm gonna use it hypothetically because you're still working in your startup and your coffee shop, right? Coffee shop? Is that the one? Okay. I may have to walk or drive 5 miles to get to you. What's gonna differentiate you, your business, your coffee shop, versus me going to say the Dunkin' Donuts right here, less than less than 100 yards, or go to a Starbucks down by East Central, downtown, closer to the post office? What's going to differentiate? Why would I spend my hard-earned money with you, right? That's how you differentiate yourself. That's how you also tell your story. Because you believe it or not, once you turn me into a believer, a consumer, I'll always come back, and I'm your best marketing. Because guess what? It's a thing called word-of-mouth marketing. A lot of businesses spend a lot of money for word-of-mouth marketing. They purposely pay people to go and talk about your business. They pay them, right? Have any of you ever participated in any surveys with companies where you get paid to fill out surveys and they give you sometimes coupons for discounts or even just straight cash? Anyone be honest? Have you done it?
Yeah,
No, I have.
I started it, but it is a pain.
It is a pain, right?
Not worth it.
Sometimes it's more difficult and you feel like you're not getting, it's not worth your time or energy, okay? So again, branding is telling your story. Branding is storytelling. Everything that we are sold, be it, prime example, cell phone, an iPhone, right? Everything that we're sold, every product that we use, we're being marketed to. We're being told this is better than something else. That's called branding. Why should I buy, say, an Apple product versus, say, a Droid? Or why do I buy a Macintosh Apple computer versus, say, a Dell or HP or Sony or another brand? This is for a particular reason. There's a perception as well, right? Some people believe that if I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to buy the best car out there, and that's probably going to be a foreign or German-made vehicle. Right? Some people would argue that, yeah, that's... John, what kind of car did you buy last year when you bought your car?
Bought a Toyota.
You bought a Toyota, okay? Right? So I bet you if I speak to John and ask him more questions about why he bought that Toyota, there were some reasons why he bought it.
My wife told me to buy it.
Okay, well, okay, that trumps anything else. Okay, so, but there's some specific things about branding, right? In terms of how we're marketing to. You know, in the Caribbean where I grew up, a Toyota car is perceived as you have it for a long time. As long as you maintain it, you would have it for well over 250,000 miles.
And the reason why I bought a Toyota was because my wife had a Toyota and she's had great luck with it. So our attitude was, you know, we've had that car for like 9 years and never had a problem with it, so why wouldn't I buy
Another
Toyota?
Correct. And I was like that for a long time with Nissan cars, you know. Again, perception was, I've had them multiple times, they treated me well, they never broke down with me. So I was able to believe, and I would recommend them to someone else, okay? So think about that in terms of your word of mouth marketing for your business, and how someone would say, I love your product so much that I'm willing to tell my significant other, my family, my friends about your product. You know, when I want to go and sweeten, say, my tea, I want to use your honey. Why would I use your honey versus going with some over-the-counter, general kind of honey? Well, your honey tastes better. There is something different, unique about that. And that's part of your brand, that's part of your story. That's part of brand acknowledgement, more importantly. Sold chariots versus, say, using Uber or another service, say, in the Providence area or elsewhere. Again, that's all part of your storytelling. A big part of telling that story is through, certainly in print, certainly on the World Wide Web, internet, and now we have this great thing called what? Social media, right? We're now, the game got more complex when Mr. Zuckerberg created this thing called Facebook. That for many years, I'll never forget, I couldn't be a part of, or I chose not to be part of, because I worked at a college at the time, College of the Holy Cross, and you had to have a .edu email address initially. And I stayed off it because I didn't want to know what my students there were doing, and I didn't want them to know my business. And eventually, I broke down like a lot of other people. But social media has changed how we get information, how we share information, right? Right now, how many of you, for your businesses, for your cooperatives, have social media handles such as Twitter or Instagram, or have a page on, say, Facebook? You do? You do?
Facebook.
Facebook?
That's it.
Okay. 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 All right. That's really important. You want to actually, as soon as you start and you hone in on your company name, you want to do your research. And you want to grab and snatch it, even if you don't do anything with it to begin with. But you want to hold it. Just like your name in .com and .net, buy those domain names. A domain will probably cost you no more than $10 a year. It's certainly worth it. Social media is the same way. You want to have those handles. You see that @ symbol on Instagram or certainly on Twitter. You want to own the ones for your business. As soon as you come up with the name, and yes, still may be in the process of figuring that out, but that's all part of your branding and your storytelling, because you want it all to be consistent. You want it all to be what? Intermingled and tight from start to finish. Okay? Social media with Twitter or Instagram, those are free. It gets more complex when you start dealing with other social media pieces like Vine and Snapchat and things like that. I know a lot of businesses that are using it now, and now the thing is marketing in 15-second videos. Can you market a product or your service in 15 seconds or less? That's Instagram.
Sudden fiction is what they call it, if it's text.
What's it called?
Sudden fiction.
Sudden fiction. Okay, sudden fiction. I like that. I've never heard that before. Okay. All right.
It's a story in like 150 words.
So, telling a story, again, telling your story, or a story, a particular story, in 150 words or less, or in the course of a video within 15 seconds. People are getting more and more savvy because of technology. We're able to do a lot more because of the smartphones and devices, tablets, laptops, computers. Questions so far on what I've said thus far in terms of just branding and marketing and how they can sometimes feel like they're one and the same. Any questions yet? No? Okay. As you're thinking about your brand.
So Steve, would you say that the brand is your identity and marketing is how you sell it?
I would definitely say that's a great way to say it. That's a beautiful way to say it. That is. Why don't you repeat that for the room?
A brand is your identity, and marketing is the way that you sell it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, who am I? My name is Dee. How do I sell myself, or how do I portray myself, is how I market myself. Absolutely. All right? Not for sale.
People are pitching in right
Right now? Okay, all right. Part of your marketing, whatever it is how you tell your story, and more importantly, you want to have fun with it. You want to be sometimes a little cheeky. You want to be different. You want to differentiate yourself from the masses, right? I mean, that's why your business is just that. It's unique. I mean, there's other people that do what I do. I mean, I'll give you some other examples in terms of branding. And this is something brand new. I'm still developing it, and I'm literally presenting this in front of you tonight. So this is a company called Charge Concepts, which they make external batteries for people like us who are on the go. So you never have to look and carry your power cord for your cell phone, so you can charge your phone while you're on the go. So some people are familiar with Mophie. So this is an upstart company, a group of guys with their significant others out of Nashua, New Hampshire. So I met them at Boston Comic Con, and I love their product. I bought one of their products, and now I'm working on a project where we're selling branded battery packs with my company logo lasered on it. I've been using one of these similar devices, and I can charge my phone 3 times before I have to charge this, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm on the go. I don't have to carry. I carry a power cable, but I don't have to look for an outlet. Right? I have this. I can slip it in my back pocket on the go. I'm still trying to figure out how to what market this. The branding is there. They have their branding, and I'll pass this around. They have Charge Concepts. It's called the Slate. My OSD.
There's something
Branding.
similar on Indiegogo.
Is there?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm still trying to figure out how to tell this story. So if any of you have any ideas of how to help me tell this story,
Check
now
out Indiegogo.
I've come up with a name right now for this product called the OSD Obsessed with Power Slate. Obsessed with Power, right? It's a play on words. My company's called Obsessive Sleep Disorder. They provide power packs, and I'm trying to come up with a marketing plan, right? I'm coming up with a marketing plan right now. I'll pass this around. Feel free to take a look at it. I'm not expecting you to buy any. I'm not trying to push that. I'm just giving you an idea of some of the things that I'm doing in one faction of my business. Again, that's something that you can do. This is what's called what? A strategic partnership. Right? Strategic partnership. I have an established brand in the marketplace, particularly in the world of footwear, sneakers. Right? What's that? It is well established. And yet they are a new company that they don't have a marketplace yet. They have a small group of consumers. Right? They're trying to expand. So I'm going to work with them in creating a strategic partnership that's going to benefit me and it's going to benefit them. I'm going to introduce them and their products to all of my consumers, to my marketplace. A niche marketplace, sneakers, but anyone can use that. It just happens to be branded with mine, but you can buy it unbranded. Right? Okay. So I'm trying to figure out the story, the marketing strategy, the plan for this, and that's part of branding. I'm going to help them get their name out there, and I'm also going to benefit because I'm now entering into a business that I wasn't in before. That can be sold at small sneaker boutiques, it can be sold at mom and pop shops, it can be at, who knows, an AT&T store, a Sprint store, who knows where it may go. You may decide to put it in kiosks in airports. You walk up, you swipe your card, you take one, you take your uncharged one, you put it back, and off you go. Right? Like Redbox. Redbox completely changed the way we all rent movies and completely shut down Blockbuster.
Netflix.
Oh,
Netflix.
yeah.
But yeah.
True. But think about it. The fact that Redbox, you can actually go and rent a DVD or a game for $1 a night. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Talk about a great marketing strategy. Netflix, again, has changed, I'm glad you brought it up, has changed how we, again, consume. Right? Right here in Worcester, there's a big uproar between Charter Communications being transitioned to Comcast. Right? I know a lot of people who are getting rid of their cable television. Why? Because all they need is internet and they can watch any show that they want. Right? Again, the marketplace is changing. Overall branding is changing. The marketing strategy has to change. Okay? Still with me? Okay. All right. So, I want to ask some specific questions about your businesses, and let's talk about it as a group in terms of some of the things that you're running into, maybe some difficulties you're having from a marketing standpoint. It sounds like the branding piece, you either have it already or you're still working it at this point, and that's fine. Continue to do that. The best thing to do is literally have, if you're starting up your business and creating your branding or what your identity is, create a notebook and write those things out. And literally that becomes your working document. And I do want to, John said this earlier, your working document is just that, it's a working continuing document that you're gonna adjust and maybe touch sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And get to the point where, at some point though, you're gonna have to set yourself a goal and say pens down. So maybe it's between now and the end of the year. You're gonna work on your branding. You're gonna work on your goals and objectives and come up with your strategy. But let's talk about marketing in terms of how you market what's your business and how you differentiate. You heard us talk about when John asked us about our SWOT analysis for future focus. What are some of the things, what are some of our strengths, what are some of our weaknesses? So one of our strengths is we're small enough and flexible enough where we can adjust very quickly. If someone calls us up today and says, hey, can you go film a interview tomorrow? We probably could. Some of the challenges we run into though are what? Sometimes equipment, and certainly money. I may be able to go, but maybe Khalifa's not able to go because she's a student, a full-time student. So we have to be flexible with that. So I'm going to pick on you, Judy, to begin with.
What are you gonna pick?
In terms of a marketing, let's talk about a marketing strategy that Senator Digger is either currently working on right now,
Right.
and let's basically